Hello, Christopher. You're up. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Bart. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. You get a hand for us here?
I do. So, also from the Atlanta area, actually. So, this is an Atlanta area private game, 2-5, no cap.
Atlanta area 2-5. Oh, okay. Another Atlanta area 2-5. Okay, 2-5. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
this one is a rigged game. So,
Raked
not
or
my
ragged?
2-5. Yeah, not my two raked. Not my 2-5 games you're going to find that aren't raked in this area.
And how deep are you playing?
So we're 1250 effective in this hand.
Okay.
All right. So, look, just quick background. I played with the main villain in this hand. I played with a few times. He's while I wouldn't categorize anyone in the game as being like great or anything, he's definitely one of the better players and probably is a small winner in the game.
Okay.
But he's definitely not technically sound. His sizings kind of are all over the place, especially post flop, which isn't even really going to come up in this. Just note. So,
Okay. Sounds good.
so folds to me under the gun +2. I raised to 15 with ace of diamonds, ace of clubs.
Okay.
Sometimes the open can be 20, but this game is playing a little on the tighter side today, so I was opening to 15 and still getting a lot of the same results as opening larger. So
Just a two blind game, no straddle, nothing like that.
yeah,
Right?
there's no straddle on in this hand or anything.
Okay.
So folds to the button, our villain, he 3-bets to 45.
So just a 3x, 3-bet.
Yep, just a straight 3x. Folds all the way back to me. And obviously I'm out of position with aces, so I'm going to make the 4-bet, and I make it 155.
So 4-bet to 155. Okay. So you're going just over 3x. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's if he calls, the pot's going to be like 310, and then, you guys will have like 1100. It's very easily get the money in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he calls, and we go to the flop.
All right.
So the flop comes down 4 of spades, 5 of spades, queen of hearts.
Queen of hearts, 5 of spades, 4 of spades.
Yep.
Okay.
And so in 4-bet pots, I kind of default to going to the small size as my C bet and basically bet all my 4-bets, all my 4-bet pre's. So I'm betting 95 here.
So hereabouts 95 takes about 1/3 sizing. And then again, I would try to shape this to get all the money in. And yes, you're correct in the theory that you're probably supposed to C bet almost every single 4-bet pot, unless it's really, really, one that might be like a 9-10 jack or 10 jack queen,
10
something
jack
like
queen,
that.
yeah.
So if he calls, the pot's going to be like 500, and then you guys will have 1,000, so you can obviously still get money in even with a small bet size here.
Yeah, and I was trying to shape it up such that once we got to the turn, I could kind of do like a geometric sizing type thing and try to bet the same amount turn river, get it all in by river.
Yeah, I might go even larger here, a little bit larger. I mean, it's a little bit nitpicky, like 125, something like that. But okay, so you go 95.
Yeah, and he calls.
All right, so button calls. And we are at just about 500, maybe a hair less.
Yeah, like I have after the blind, it's like 505, 1,000 remaining.
Okay, so 2 pot size bets left. Okay, yep.
Yep. So the turn comes down to 10 of diamonds.
10 of diamonds comes here on the turn. So, obviously you can be losing to some hands, like some extra hands here, like 10-10, going to have to peel. Yep. And you're obviously still losing to queen-queen, but it's interesting when you go back to pre-flop as to like what hands with a queen in it fold. What hands with a queen in it that are structuring pre-flop correctly 3-bet fold that aren't, just bullshit hands. Like if he's actually 3-betting the right types of hands, is queen jack suited 3-bet folding? Is king queen suited? I don't think king queen suited and ace queen suited are 3-bet. Is ace queen off? 3-bet folding.
And that's why I was thinking through all that same stuff too. I think he is entirely capable. In this player pool, you don't see a lot of people 3-betting like the suited broadways. It's a very, call happy type of pool. Mm-hmm. He's one of the guys, though, I think would probably 3-bet the suited Broadway combos and stuff. So like I don't put it past him to have queen jack and then maybe peel it because, like I said, he's one of the quote unquote better players, but I think he probably peels too much going to flops, thinking he's deep enough to do it and stuff.
like maybe the queen jacks and stuff like that. Here's the thing. So just doing some back of the napkin math here. My gut is like 300 to 350. If you go 350 here, the pot's going to be like 12 if called, and then you're left with like 650. That's pretty good, geometric size. And the other interesting thing here too is this: it's somewhat of a good barrel card for you, where a lot of queens are still going to have to call down. Meaning, like if you have ace king, you very well might play it this way, right? You pick up like your backdoor, you pick up the
Yeah, and
straight
I
name
would.
equity.
Yeah, and I would play ace
Yeah.
king this way. Like I in this position pre-flop, I'd probably four bet all my ace kings, queens, kings, aces,
Mm-hmm.
and then occasionally against this one guy, I wouldn't do it almost against anyone else. I probably would do the four bet bluffs with the ace five suited.
Mm-hmm.
So like I can't have that stuff, but yeah, I would play ace king the same way up to this point.
So what did you do here on the turn?
So I was trying to do, like, in real time, I was trying to calculate out the geometric sizing, and I ended up going a little too small. I ended up only going 250, and then kind of realized it after I did it. I was able to complete the math in my head that I went too small for this.
If you go 250 and he calls, the pot's going to be 1500, and then what you've got?
It'll be 1,000 with
1,000
750
with
left.
750 left. So you're saying you're
Yeah.
just leaving a little bit. You can just go larger and sort of
Yeah, it's just
juice the
larger on
pot
the
up a
river,
little
yeah.
bit. Yeah. Okay. So you go
Yeah.
250.
Yeah, and so then the river comes a card I
And he
absolutely
called.
did.
And I assume he called.
Yeah, he calls. He calls. Yeah, he calls.
So
And then the
calls.
river comes a card I was not super happy with seeing, which was an offsuit king of clubs.
Okay. I was going to ask you what would you have done on, like say a spade came out at the end here that wasn't brought
Yeah.
down, like the eight of spades or something like that.
I think I'm going to end up having to check a lot of spades just because I think ace queen of spades and ace king of spades are heavily represented here. I don't necessarily know if maybe he can have the ace jack of spades as well. I don't know for sure. He would definitely, I mean, if he got here with ace jack of spades, if he called that pre, I guess if he can call queen jack suited pre, he can call ace jack suited pre.
Yeah, this is where
yeah.
this is definitely where I think if in a 4-bet pot, if a spade came at the end and you had the ace of spades, it's a value bet because it's just so unlikely that it's so
I
fewer.
wouldn't. Yeah. I agree. I would have bet for sure if I had the ace of spades, but I didn't. That was a huge problem.
Right. But if you didn't, yeah, I think probably checking his order. Now, seems like it's a fairly bad card here too. It kind of reminds me of the hand I played against Saya the Bot. It's different from the one from Hustler from whatever it was last week or something like that. You are sort of double blocking ace queen, which are the hands that you want to get called here by a lot, right? And if you do like a bet, like queen jack really should fold. I went over this in detail. I think I'm going to put it up on YouTube too. I went over this in detail on my podcast and also on the CLP video. People were like, why did you call Saya the Bot when a king came when you had ace queen for all in? And I said a king was actually a better call for me, a better card for me to call down than a brick. And this was the situation where I had opened from under the gun with ace queen. She 3-bet and I called, and the board came out queen XX, and she bet and I called. Turn was a brick. She bet and I called. River was a king. She moved all in and I called, and I said, I think it's actually easier for me to fold on a low card than it is on a king. Slightly different. She's in position, but here you lose to king queen suited now, and ace queen, which is I think one of the primary hands you want to get value from. You're blocking here a little bit here too. So unless you had some sort of like crazy dynamic where you thought he was going to, it's just hard for him to call down here a lot. So it should definitely make your this card needs to make your value bet range stronger. If you follow what I'm saying, you need to have a stronger hand, I think, than one pair a lot of times here to value bet this run out.
Yeah. And that was kind of my thought too, because like, I feel like if I bet the only specific hand I think that can even like necessarily call on river is like, I guess specifically ace king of spades runs into top pair on the river.
Yeah. I was going to say ace king. I mean, here's the thing. Like if he has ace king and a spade, okay, in his any spade on the, he's definitely calling the flop, right? You go half pot on the turn. Ace king still might be allowed to call here on the turn. And if he has the ace of spades, he could bluff a spade river too. So he might not just have ace king of spades here. He could have some other ace kings, but even still,
Like I just, yeah,
I don't even
like I
know
said,
if I arrive. Let's say I'm your opponent and I arrive here with ace king, and you like move all in. It's a. I mean, there's got to be a against the live players that don't really have a ton of 4-bet bluffs. I mean, you got a chunky value here, right? You got queens. You
yeah,
know, I mean,
and that was,
and then I would be thinking though, but you probably wouldn't do this with aces. But yeah, I think I might check here.
yeah, and that was the thing. I couldn't figure out. I definitely wasn't. Jam was off the table. Like I was basically thinking I either check or I guess I like block trying to get called by ace king, but I didn't like that idea at all.
Block for what? Like how
So
much? Like 250 or something?
yeah, yeah, but I'm like at that point I'm targeting exactly like one combo when he can still he
Yeah.
sometimes show up here with queens and kings and tens.
Yeah, I think the fact that you've got two aces in your hand kind of hurts you there too.
Yeah, so I check.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, this is very well might be a situation where you might check fold depending on the size. And again, this is a spot where it's not like you're necessarily saying, "Oh, I check, I'm losing the pot." It's that if it goes check check, you win a lot. But if he
Hmm.
takes especially like an all-in sizing, you might be like, "Okay, well now I might have to just fold," you know. So you
Yeah,
check.
so I checked and he started tanking for a minute and I was already kind of running through what I was gonna do. It's like thinking I don't even know if ace king's necessarily gonna value bet this river all that often if he has it. But then he ended up yeah, he jammed for the full 750 out of for about 30, 45 seconds. And
Hmm.
I vomited in my mouth a little bit.
So button jams for 750.
Hmm.
So you're gonna get the pot's 1750 and it's 750 for you to call. So you're getting 2.5 to 1. So obviously you got to be right here 1 out of 3.5 times. I mean, what I would think about is obviously what is this change in terms of his value and how does he construct a 3-bet call range? Like
Yeah.
if he doesn't have like the ace jack off with like the ace of spades. I mean, let's say he calls with all king king and queen queen, okay?
Hmm.
And ten
Yep.
ten by that. Let's say he calls with 10-10. And all those hands he just continues to call down with. I mean, that's 9 full combos. Let's say that maybe he fast plays like 1/3 of them. This is how I would look at this math wise. So I'd say like 6 of the 9 like super thick value combos. And then what else? You've got king queen suited. There's 2 combos of that. Would probably always play this way. So that's
Hmm.
8. And then you got start to say to yourself, well, does he have busted, like, does he have any busted spade draws? Does he have any like ace 3 of spades, like raise calls, ace
Yeah, I
6,
don't
ace
think he
7 of
has that.
spades? I
I
mean,
don't think he has those things.
if you could find 3 bluffs and it's 8 value, then it's pretty close, right? I mean, you're getting 2.5 to 1, but I don't know. It's just, and people are going to be so. And again, like live poker, if someone turns queen jack here into a bluff, I would kind of tap the table. I just don't see that. I think you have to have a queen jack suited 3-bet call too. So
And that was kind of my thought too. Like I was trying to think of what the bluffs could even be. Like ace king with the, I mean, again, ace king with the naked ace of spades. Like if it even gets here, like I just don't see this player pool doing that move all the time when they all of a sudden run into a hand that can like have showdown value. Um, and other than that, it was like he'd have to be turning something. He had to be like turning something into a bluff. Like exactly, I even thought about this. Like you'd have to be turning queen jack or jack jack into a bluff. Like,
right,
and I just don't see that.
you would just have to really. He'd have to. I think the times that I would call against a player type would be somebody that have it in their repertoire, or maybe I've seen before where they'll throw in the occasional 4-bet, excuse me, 3-bet bluff and then call with like a hand like 7-6 of spades, six, yeah, whatever it is, 7-8 of spades, some sort of suited connector, right? And
Yeah.
then ace 6 of spades, some of these ones. So yeah, I mean, without anything, I can get on board with the fold for sure.
Yeah. I did end up
By
folding.
the way, someone's saying I think Ace King of Spades that gets here just never jams like this. I don't think
Yeah.
in a four
I
bet
didn't think
pot.
so either. That
Yeah,
was my main thing. It's like, I just don't think he goes for the jam with ace king of spades here. Like, And I don't think I've seen him play like a, some crazy four bet pot with like 7, 8. I've definitely seen him like three bet something like that before, but it's never gone into a situation where it's been a four bet pot because a lot of the times the people we're playing against are only in for like, 100 to 200 big blinds. Very rarely do we get into a situation where two players are butting up against each other,
Right.
250, 300 big blinds deep.
By the way, someone in the live chat's pointing out too, I'm missing one value combo. It's actually nine. Ace Jack of Spades, right?
Yeah,
That's one
yeah.
for sure. So I was saying like, 2/3 of the sets is six combos. Two King Queen suited is eight, and then Ace Jack of Spades would be nine. So you'd really kind of have to find 3.5 ish bluffs, getting 2.5 to 1. So you folded, and then did you ever find out what he had?
I did not, but I mean, I feel pretty confident in the fold, just kind of like knowing the pool and knowing how he's played other spots and stuff. I feel pretty good about it, so I'm not dwelling on it too much.
Relaxation, meditation, sleep says he can have every ace X of spades and 8 6 of spades and 7 6 of spades. If that was the case, then it would be a call, relaxation, meditation, sleep. But we just went over this. It's a four bet pot. The caller doesn't think that there's many of those hands in this guy's range. So, but if he had those
No.
hands, sure. Yeah, you know. Thanks for the call.